Welcome to the American Contractor Show, the show that's all about American contractors living the American dream. I'm your host, John Dye. Each episode will introduce you to contractors just like you who have beaten the odds and leveled up their game to become the dominant force in their markets. Together, we'll explore the tools and tactics that unlock the secrets to their success. Join me as we begin the journey that leads to the realization of your American dream. Hey guys, and welcome to the American Contractors Show. I'm your host, John Dye, and with me today I have my good friend, Mr. Doug Quinn, with us from the American Policyholders Association, and we're over here in Cedar Rapids today. We just wrapped up this event and got to squeeze in a few interviews with some cool people, and Doug is gracious enough to hang out with us a little bit and talk about what's going on at the APA and stuff. But thank you so much for hanging out and staying late.
Thanks for having us.
I appreciate it. And so for those of you that don't know, we're doing these events. This is the second one of these that we've done. We're doing another one next week in Louisiana. And so the first one we did was in Nashville. Mm-hmm. You guys jumped all over that and came out and put together one of the most cool presentations I've ever seen, which I got to see it again tonight. And it's always so much fun to watch that because it's cool to see the passion that you guys have for what you guys do, which is helping, combat insurance carrier fraud in these types of situations. And so here in Cedar Rapids, they've been massively affected. Not a whole lot of media coverage on this. It's been really kind of quiet. I didn't realize how bad it was till we got here and realized that, the hotel, the atrium's gone. That whole glass part's gone. They got some pretty impressive scaffolding going on. And now they're just dealing with all the devastation that's been left behind by these massive storms. And so we came out and we did this event where we were doing a free contractor storm workshop to help get them up to date with the current things here locally that are going to affect them, the laws, the regulations, how to stay compliant. And you guys bring an amazing presentation to help not just the contractors, but to help their clients out. And so I really appreciate you doing that. And I want you to talk a little bit about what this event means and why you guys are doing these.
The presentation we're doing is called PostCat Fraud Awareness for disaster professionals, and we also do it for consumers. And it's just a way for us to engage in a PostCat environment. And we know that there's a lot of people that are impacted here. We know that fraud is rampant in disaster zones post-catastrophe. And we know that a lot of people that were here in this room who are the disaster professionals, a lot of whom are local, some of whom are traveling from out of state, are the ones who are going to be working with consumers. And they are our eyes and ears on the ground. The better we can train the professionals who are coming in to work with consumers, the better they can serve the people who are disaster survivors.
Yeah, and you guys are disaster survivors, and you guys have this extreme amount of, passion for this. And I can tell every time you guys speak about it, how close this hits to home for you guys. But more than that, this is one of the most ignored things in our society as a whole. We're not even talking contractors. We're not even talking, because for contractors, it's kind of like this pesky thing that we got to deal with when we're dealing with insurance restoration work, and there's contractors that only do insurance restoration work, so they're used to dealing with the carriers and all the nonsense that goes on there. But this is one of those things that's a massive disservice to our society.
That is correct. It is, as our friend Mike Lindhurst would say, it's a market failure.
Yeah.
The very fact that this is allowed to exist. And listen, we're not anti-insurance. We know insurance is a very important financial tool for the average consumer to be able to handle a loss that they wouldn't have been able to handle otherwise. But we just want to see that it works the way that it's supposed to work. And we know in a disaster zone, insurance companies will bring in third-party administrators because they don't have the capacity to adjust all the claims. And some of those administrators are going to hire subcontractors, and some of those subcontractors are going to hire people off Craigslist. And there's a lack of quality control. And what that leads to in a disaster zone is people who have already been victimized, people who are already traumatized, get victimized twice. they now become the victim of fraud because somewhere there's an engineer or an independent adjuster who's willing to lie to tell the insurance company what they want to hear and cheat a poor family out of an honest claim.
Well, they're gaming and taking advantage of the lack of education on the consumer side. I mean, carriers don't have a guide or a book to help a policyholder file a claim and get indemnified 100%.
And even if they did, the average policyholder who's been through a natural disaster, they're traumatized. They're not functioning at their normal capacity. And you'll see even intelligent, educated people make bad decisions because their whole life is turned upside down. Their kids are sleeping on somebody's couch. They're out of their home. They're in the worst position to make decisions at a time when so many decisions are forced on them. So it's a bad combination.
And you said something tonight that I typically try to impart on contractors too when I do my classes a lot of times. But, we tend to forget, like, insurance companies, because number one, they spend a lot of money and a lot of resources painting this picture of themselves in a way that is benefiting them or benefiting their clients. Like, they're out there to help them. They're on their side. They're all these things, all the little gimmicks that they got. But we always tend to forget, like, these are for-profit companies.
Mm-hmm.
They're in business to make money, just like every other contractor, every business, every industry out there. The insurance companies are in it to make money, and if they can make a little bit more just by imparting whatever it is that they have to guidelines or whatever else on claims, they're going to take that all day long. And so at the end of the day, like, this is just business. It's business as usual. How do we combat that even more? Like, what do policyholders need to be doing to really get to the heart of the matter here?
Well, part of it is education. They have to understand that, the hype of the TV commercials that you constantly see that tell you you're in good hands and, that we're on your side and, we're a good neighbor. All of that hype is for point of sale. And maybe your agent is a great guy or gal and they coach little league and they're your neighbor and you've known them forever, but your agent doesn't adjust your claim. There's a whole separate group of people on the back end that you've never met that have your financial fate in their hands. And we do not listen. Insurance companies are in it for a profit. We don't begrudge anybody earning a reasonable profit. But if you cannot make your profit in an honest, ethical way by delivering what you promised at the point of sale, then you shouldn't be in the business.
Well, we've seen even carriers where they've changed what they promise at the point of sale later on down the road without the policyholder's knowledge.
Yep. People get amendments to their policies and on renewal time, they don't even have a chance to look and read. Maybe they had a busy day when they opened the mail that day and they don't understand. And a change was made to their policy.
It's a very complex product. At the end of the day, like, this is a complex product. There's a lot of things in there. And this isn't something we talked about today, but this is something that I think that if you're a contractor and you're watching this, you got to keep in mind too, though. Not all contractors are above board, honest, reputable contractors. There are dishonest contractors out there.
There's dishonest anything you can name.
Well,
a certain percentage of Americans are willing to commit fraud for a profit or to avoid a loss. And it doesn't matter whether you're hiring a contractor or a consumer or an insurance company adjuster or a judge or a senator. That's just the way it is.
And the reason I say that and I bring that up is because, I know from the IA world, the guidelines that they have set up, all the things that they've designed in the way that they write claims out, the way that they write estimates, their adjustment processes and procedures. A lot of times the reason that they're justified and have they can do those things is because sometimes contractors aren't building roofs the right way. SIU's coming in behind and looking at these roofs and saying, wait a second, this contractor reused the step flashing. This contractor reused the drip edge. This contractor did this. Now we're going to make this part of the guideline that unless you ask us for it, we're not going to pay for it. Because why not?
Right. And in the end, the consumer is not getting the best product that they should get.
Right.
And that's what it comes down to. So, and you may be violating local building codes. And listen, some contractors might cut corners like that. Some might be straight up dishonest and are cheating people. We're against all types of fraud, as should everybody.
I completely agree.
Right. Most honest, hardworking contractors should see that kind of behavior and understand how it impacts you, because it does impact you, because you tend to get painted with the same brush.
You're right.
And we know there's some really, really solid, hardworking, honest people in this industry that do their best to do what's best for the consumer. And those people are getting painted with the same brush as the shysters are coming in and cutting corners.
I totally agree. And I think what you guys are doing is so important. I encourage every contractor that watches this or policyholder, no matter what you are, if you are an American and you are concerned about this problem, you guys need to get involved with the American Policyholder Association. You guys have different levels of membership that is going to help support your guys' cause. You guys are going to, you had that photo with was it the Attorney General here in Iowa?
The Iowa Attorney General, Tom Miller, who's actually the longest serving Attorney General in the United States, active at this point. We've already met with him and engaged with him.
And you guys do this with Attorney Generals across the nation.
All over America.
All over America, trying to connect with them, lobbying for this issue in particular, which is really a consumer issue more than it is a contractor issue, but it affects contractors indirectly when you guys are having to, it's delaying your payments, it's delaying your jobs, it's making your business 10 times more difficult to operate. So this is definitely affecting you guys. But at the end of the day, like, what you guys are doing is so important for everybody. And I think that everyone needs to get involved with this and become a member of the APA. I'm a proud member of the APA because I believe in you guys' mission and what you guys are doing. And you guys have, and by us coming together in this way, we can affect change.
And that's it. It's working together. That's how we win. We collaborate, we work together, we follow a common strategy to stand up to injustice. And in the end, that's what it is. It's your consumers, the people who put food on your table, are getting robbed. And you can see it every day. They're getting taken advantage of. And one thing I will always say to a contractor, to a public adjuster, to an attorney, anybody who's impacted by this, what percentage of your life do you spend chasing down money from insurance companies that rightfully should have been paid? And that is basically a theft. It's a theft of your time that you could be putting back into your business. You could be putting into your family. You could be putting into your community. It doesn't produce. It's time and energy and money that does not produce anything that helps the American economy. It's a drain on the American economy.
I totally agree. And so I really appreciate what you guys are doing. I appreciate you guys coming to these events, helping us out, putting this together, promoting them, because it's so, your guys' information, the content you bring to these, it's so good. Like I'm blown away every time, and I appreciate what you guys are doing, and 100% behind the APA, and don't totally endorse what you guys do. You guys need to check this dude out, check out the APA in general, what's going on. They are killing it, and they are on your side.
Absolutely.
They are on your side. One thing I did want to address, though, and this, I think, is a common misconception of the APA's mandate and what you guys are doing. But a lot of times I get contractors to say, well, I feel like I'm giving them money and I can't get a response from them because they'll send you some claim or something that they're working on that they couldn't get a good deal on. And I think that's a common misconception on what your guys' true mission really is. And I wanted to just kind of skirt by that because I think I want to help contractors really grasp what the reality is and how you guys operate, on what level you guys operate.
Yeah, it's I think some people sort of get the conception that for $84 a month they've hired their own private attorney, which obviously isn't practical. What we're doing is we are taking in cases submitted by our members that they think are either a violation of someone's license, such as unethical, dishonest practice of engineering, or a violation of a state's criminal fraud statutes. Now, we hear a lot from people who submit a case, and it's not criminal fraud. It might be bad faith. It's not fair to the consumer. It's wrong, but it's not something we can bring to a prosecutor that says this is a clear violation. Or in other cases, we know it's fraud. I know when somebody turns that over to me, it's fraud. However, what kind of proof do we have? Prosecutors have an obligation. In the end, I've got to take a case. Our prosecution department evaluates it. And then if they say it looks good, I've got to take that case to an actual prosecutor. And they go through a 3-step process that says, one, what is the law that is alleged to have been violated here? 2, what is the proof of that violation? And 3, what are my odds of being able to prove that beyond a reasonable doubt to a jury of the defendant's peers? And prosecutors turn down way more cases than they take. So probably one of the biggest things, and here's an opportunity for us all here, one of the biggest things I see is a lack of proof. So one of the things we're going to be developing is a protocol for carrier side contact, which is anytime you contact the carrier, you do so in writing. If it's legal, you do so on a recorded line. You back up all things via email so that every step of your contact is in writing, is recorded. If an adjuster or an engineer comes out to do an inspection, you video record that, you time it, you make sure you get identification from them on who they are. And by doing that, you're starting to lay down a chain of evidence so that if a crime does occur, you're already in a position that now we have proof that we can take to a prosecutor.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that's got to be the kicker is contractors need to document better.
Mm-hmm.
Implement these protocols that you're talking about. I think this is going to be great. I can't wait to see that because I think that's one of those things that'll help them a lot as they move forward so that they can look at this from a lot more than just like you said. You guys aren't their private attorney. Like you guys are doing things on a much higher level that requires a lot more information. And the more that we can help as contractors, the more better information that we can give them, the better that they can do their job and really be more effective for us.
Absolutely, absolutely. In reality, we won't be able to take every case. We've got to have specific cases that have to be the perfect case because our reputation lives and dies on that. And if we go to a prosecutor with something that is just a waste of their time, they won't talk to us again.
Right.
So down the road, when a great case does come in that we can actually make market-wide impact with, we've damaged that relationship.
Totally agree. Yeah. Well, Doug, thank you so much for all that you're doing. Thanks for hanging out, staying late, and coming out to Cedar Rapids. And I'll see you next week in Louisiana. And then whenever there's another storm, I'm sure that we'll be there with you then. But thank you so much for hanging out and for all that you and Heather and John and the whole team do over there. You guys are killing it.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks so much for watching today's show. Make sure to like and subscribe our pages so that you can stay up to date with every episode. And by the way, this show is all about you, the American Contractor. Be sure to comment and let us know what you want to hear about and what subjects you want us to touch on. We'll be sure to include them in a future episode. Thanks again, and I hope you have a great day.